All right, y'all. It's your old boy Pilk. I have a confession to make. I kind of messed up. I meant to cover this earlier in the month, and then one thing led to another. This actually dropped when I was getting ready to go out of town, and I never really had a chance to kind of deal with it. So we're super late getting to this, but Chapter 53 of Wistoria dropped on the 8th of June. We are now coming up on the next chapter, actually, really soon, in like a matter of maybe less than 2 weeks. So we'll talk about Chapter 54, but I do need to cover, obviously, 53. So let's jump in. Let's do this. So this character up top says here, when we first met, I thought you were the warmest person I had ever met. But when we met again at the academy, I found that warmth had been replaced with ice, which kind of makes sense for Julius, right? Makes tons of sense. Just makes tons of sense. And you're going to get like a lot of background information here. Remember, whenever we see kind of these black borders around the screen, that is all going to be background stuff. So it made me sad to think that the kind boy that I thought I knew was no more. And, you know, obviously they show just all the miserable, terrible things that he had done here in the past. And, yeah. Julius not being cool. He even says up here, being good just isn't for me. And he is just absolutely being kind of himself. He's like, Emma, don't let your brother be like Ian. But you proved me wrong. You never stopped being that boy. You even helped me after what I did to you. So, yeah. So old girl here is basically, she's out for revenge. If you remember, like, there's a whole thing going on right now outside, and we'll get to that here really, really, really soon. There was the reveal that Will didn't actually go on the expedition and all that stuff. You know, really go back to Chapter 52 if you kind of need a refresher on that. Even I had to go read 51 and 52 again to kind of get, like, a fresh mind about this, because it's been a while since we've had these. And she's like, I will make things right. And, yeah. So this is Emma. She's the one, if I recollect, she's the one who was actually first made a puppet. She was the first puppet that they discovered. And she calls Julius her brother. I don't recollect them being blood-related prior to this. I don't know if that's actually like a true and proper thing, or if that's just her. I think it is, though. Like, there's a clear family resemblance here. I just don't, and I could just be my bad memory, because my memory is trash. But I don't remember her being actual, like, flesh and blood with him, but maybe that was a thing. But she actually meets with Felvis and Leafia here. And for those of you guys that haven't been following along with Danmachi, basically these are two characters that were originally introduced in the Danmachi story. They're kind of like holdovers, borrowed. Same with Finn. Both all three of those characters are basically originated with that other story, and Amori's kind of using him here for whatever purpose he needs. It's really interesting. I kind of wish he would do this a little bit less, dare I say. I know, kind of hot take, whatever, but I really kind of want him to like lean back on this. I don't want him to rely on these characters as much. But we'll talk more Danmachi soon. There's a lot to discuss with Danmachi. And for those of you that have been following along with us, you guys know the mobile game's actually getting ready to close doors, which is really unfortunate. And for those of you that might be new to this, this is actually Amori's other project. So we obviously have Danmachi, we've got the light novels, we've got the anime, we've got the manga, all that stuff. This is a manga that he's doing separately with a kind of a newbie artist that is kind of its own whole thing. So, yeah, this is something entirely different and separate, but he does throw little nods in here for those of you guys that are familiar with Danmachi. You know. So, she's like, I've been more sure of anything in my life, I have to fight for Julius. And basically what they're going to do here is they're going to give her this dagger, and they're like, good luck. You gonna need it. And yeah, she is absolutely going to need it. And of course, now we're on the outside here, and we see that everything is just going horribly wrong out here. Everything is just gone to pot. It's miserable. You know, they even say up here, the castle's first wing has fallen. Yeah, like, that's not great. And yeah, we also see old girl down here who's we've seen her before. They defeated her in the past, but now she's just kind of back with a vengeance, literally, and she is absolutely tearing up the town. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. And she says here that Charles is a man after my own heart. She's obviously talking about the dude that double crossed them, that was in the academy in the prior chapters. So yeah, and obviously these guys don't know. They just found out. She's like, Charles, like that guy was part of your whole crew, and she's like, yep. Turns out you're completely screwed. We got you surrounded, and yeah. Because remember, they were thinking like, was it Kreutz is his name? They were thinking him, like the main guy who was like wanted to dissect Will. Like, you want to talk about a candidate for being not, for being evil? Like, there was all kinds of questions about that guy's morality and that guy's standards, and it turns out the dude that was keeping him in check was the dude that was a problem. So yeah, that is. And obviously, like, Will's dealing with that now. Like, you can even see this expression right here. One thing I love about this artist is the way he deals with expressions. Look how just crazy that old girl looks down here. And you've got Will just mind-blown dealing. These shots. So this is very clearly, like, I don't believe this artist has done a manga before. In fact, if you go back and you look at the original manga scans versus what this is, you will see that this artist definitely has like some inspirations from like classic anime and classic manga. And you can see how much this person has progressed and how much better they've gotten. And every single chapter just seems to get better and better and better. It's absolutely awesome. Yeah. And they're like, you're going to pay for what you did. And she's like, oh, am I really now? And I mean, she is absolutely flipped her crap. She is just convinced that she's going to make it out of this unscathed. Yeah, she's like, I'll take your new looking puppeteer to I take it you're looking for a new puppeteer to pull your strings. Like, literally, she's just threatening to basically overthrow literally everything. And she's done it before. Like, there's a lot of people that have been under her control. And that was, if we're going back here to Emma, Emma was the first one that we discovered that was under her control. And that's how they found out about the flowers and all that stuff. So this is bad. Shade absolutely is a terrifying opponent. Now, she's been defeated before, but she's also learned from her mistakes, as we'll find out, and she is not going to fall twice. Like, it is. Well, let's just move on. Yeah, they're like, spare us your drivel. We took you out, and this war is as good as won. And if I wouldn't like my odds if I were you, because you are outnumbered and outgunned. And she's like, oh, you think that's the case, do you? And she's like, now Morta. And as you see here, you've got old girl up here. Remember, like, she was dealing with she was like the second in charge of, I believe it was the Fire faction. And she's like, bet, got it. And you see all these people pull out those sleeves, those mage killer swords. And she's like, awesome. Chaos Bloom. Now, this is a magic spell, but I want you to pay really close attention to what happens here. She says, now that 8 of us are in position, let's get the mage hunt started. Huge summoning circle in the sky. This is one of those scenes that I need to see animated. They have got to get to this. Like, be this season 3, season 4, whatever. This is going to be amazing. Because a summoning circle appears in the sky, and all those flowers start appearing everywhere. And you can see this is not going to go well. And you can see that they're just popping up all over the place on everything. Everywhere. They're like, everyone's like, what the hell is going on? What is happening? And it's like, The circle's been, like, I can't remember his name up there, but that dude straight up looks not right. He's like, the circle's been activated. What do you think of this wonderful work of magic? And as we find out here that essentially, you cannot use magic. Essentially, this is like whatever is imbued in those sleeves that's stopping the magic is imbued in this circle. So literally anything inside the circle is not going to be able to use the magical power unless you have a special sleeve yourself. And that's exactly what's going on with Old Girl right here. And yeah, this is not great at all. Everybody is completely screwed. Yeah. And they're like, face it, the tower is lost. Yeah, pretty much. Like, this, under normal circumstances, would be the end of pretty much everything. Because even right now, even if the magic got involved, what are they going to do? All their powers are canceled out, right? Like, since the entire world is based on this whole magical ability, what are you going to do when your magic has been cut off? Not only that, those are the flowers that kind of allow them to all become basically puppets. So, damned if you do and damned if you don't. Even if you don't succumb to, like, the lack of the magic and all that, you're eventually going to succumb to being controlled. Like, this is a worst possible scenario. And everyone's like, but we still have a sword. And we know that Will absolutely is like the linchpin to finishing this off. Will is the one person who can actually persevere in all of this. And she's like, a sword is not going to save you this time. I brought just the thing to deal with you. And of course, they are basically, and we've seen these before, they're basically like, we've seen animals and things like that are elemental animals that just kind of like, they're out there, they exist, they're just, whatever. But yeah, these are basically made of slime. So there's almost no physical entity to this. They have to be defeated with magic. But how are you going to, so like, basically Will doesn't have a way to defeat these, best she's aware. Now, we do know that Will does have something up his sleeve that might actually be able to handle this whole situation. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't thought about that. But this looks really bad in the moment. I'm sorry, I might have completely taken the tension away from the fight, and I apologize for that. But yeah, this is horrid. This is like a worst case scenario. And of course, they're trying to talk back here like, who could have possibly summoned this? Who could have come up with, monsters this powerful? Who could control, not just one, but a multitude of these things? And then, yeah. And not only that, like, would have, like, obviously the sleeve so that they don't have to deal with the lack of their magical ability. So this is like a perfect storm. You can't use magic, but you have to use magic to win, which is completely insane. And yeah, like, you can even tell down here by basically the ways that she's kind of like looking and reacting to all this. She feels completely confident. She does not think they stand a chance one. And yeah, that's when Emma comes out of nowhere, and as you can see here, drives a blade right into Shade's backside. Or so she thought. She misses by like millimeters, basically. Another scene that I cannot wait to be animated. But she just a near miss. And of course, like, Shade always wears like these really loose clothes. So how is she gonna necessarily know? Like, she just nixed her. Yeah. And Shade knocks her away and is like, how dare you? She's like, is that how you repay your adjudicant? For looking after you, you stab her in the back. Yeah. And she's like, you killed Julius. And she's like, no. I didn't do anything of the sort. You're the one who unalived him. You held your wand up and you used your magic. In fact, you used wind magic of all things and blew a hole right through him. You're the one who pulled the trigger. This is your doing. Let's see right there. That icy brat unalived because you, Emma, you're the one who did it. It was all your fault. So Shade's really just trying to like break her mind right there. And you can see by her expression, it's working. Like this is a bad time for everybody. And poor Emma's just losing it. Like she thought she had it in the bag. And like the fact that all that lead up and she just misses by a millimeter is just insane. Absolutely. And of course Shade's over here just gloating and just going on and on. And she's like, Julius was not the loser you make him out to be. He was a proud man. And I wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. And she goes ballistic. She's like, and I won't stand here and let a monster like you tell us any different. And Shade's like, sure thing. Enough talk. Your friend's grave is going to get a lot warmer when you join him. And oh my goodness, this is bad. This looks just atrocious, right? And here we go. I'm going to butcher this, but I believe it's pronounced Stelia Coloris. Boom! Huge magical blast. Now, how is this possible? How could this possibly be a thing when you've got all of this going on in the background? When you basically have like the anti-magic stuff going on. Who could have possibly pulled this off? And I kind of might have spoiled a little bit. And she's like, what are you doing? And we kind of suspected this for a while, right? I even talked about this a little bit. There was the one character that looked like Julius. And we even saw the mask and all that stuff. And he's like, I've got a lot of choice words for you, but first I got to say, you really kicked yourself in the ass by practically asking me to show up. Yeah. There's Julius. So, let's take this in for a moment. Julius essentially has now wiped out those monsters. It seems, at least in the moment. Like, there's a lot going on here, but it seems like he's wiped them out. And everyone's like, Julius? Yeah, right there, fam? And I love him. Rejoice, peasants, your hero's back from the dead. And that's where it leaves off. So, like, holy crap, Julius is alive. Now, we figured that. I even saw, like, the first time that we saw this figure down here, I was like, that's Julius, isn't it? That's got to be him. There's something going on. There's something in the shadow. So, we're going to find out in the next chapter, I'm sure, what exactly is happening. Now, here's the question, because I don't think it's super, like, obvious which side he's on. No, here's the thing. Let's just, like, break this down for a minute, because obviously he's got to have that one of those special sleeves that lets him do the magic. Has he wiped out all those monsters? Is he actually facing down Shade at this point? Did he double cross him? Is he on the inside? Or is this all an act and he actually is one of the bad guys? To me, it really does seem like he's double-crossed the Goetia. That's kind of the way it looks to me, because you can see everyone else is excited and she looks really distraught there. And the way he's speaking to him about, like, your hero and stuff like that, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, like, this is, unless they do, like, a complete 180 in the next chapter, it seems like he's wiped out all of those, the magic beasts and all that stuff. He's basically set this up. Now, is this Finn's doing? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they more or less faked his death, and Finn has got him working on the inside. Or maybe even, because, I don't know, the Magi just don't seem... The Magi of Ander don't seem to be quite that cunning. You know what I mean? This just was when I read this, I was like, what? Julius is back? And is he double crossing? Oh my God. That is amazing. Because you can tell by the expressions here that they kind of thought he was on their side. And that's what I thought. But like a few chapters back, I was like, oh my God, there's going to be this big reveal that he's like the next big bad, or that he's fallen or something like that. But no, it seems like he somehow was allied with them, so they thought, and then double-crossed them. Or at least that's... Because let's see, he's shows up here, so we have 4 pages of him. So we only have like that much information. There's 43 pages in this chapter, and only 4 pages of Julius. So well, okay, actually, I take it back, because there's the flashbacks too. But maybe I'm underanalyzing it and overanalyzing it at the same time. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But this is awesome news, guys. Let me know what you thought. Are you hyped for this? Maybe you've already read this, because I know I'm a bit late getting to this. But the next chapter should be out between the 6th and 8th of July, and we will talk about that when it drops. I shouldn't be late this time, because I don't think we're traveling around that point in time. So, like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I'll be back with more soon.